okay, two-way stretch. Normally, if you're going to inflate it, I would inflate it with the cover, because when it's fully inflated, it makes it more difficult to put the cover on, as you will see when I do it, try to put it on next. This is the really easy cartoon guide on how to do it. This is what I leave with all my patients and carers so that they've got something to look at. Also, when I'm doing it, if I've got a carer there, I will actually get them to do hands-on after I've set it up so they can get the feel of it, so that then they know later on what they're checking for, and because they know that I've set it up and that hopefully it should be right, they know what it's supposed to feel like. So if we look at this, these are all the cells. They are all interconnected. This isn't even fully inflated. If it's fully inflated, it's bowing. So you don't need it to be fully inflated when you're setting a person up on it. So as you can see, there is air movement in it. All the cells are interconnected. Okay, so what we're looking at is when pressure goes down on the cells, it moves in amongst the other ones, and there's no pressure coming back up. So if you're thinking this is your bony prominence going down, there's no pressure there that's causing it. There is still contact, which is helping promote blood flow, but there is no pressure because it's moving out, and because the air moves out, it's supporting the either side, so it's supporting the thighs, and that where the thighs can cope with that extra pressure. But the boniest, parts, that's where we're going to get that pressure. So basically, if we're looking at it side on, what we're trying to achieve is, this is your bony prominence sinking down. When I've got my hand there and I'm checking it, I want to be able to wiggle my fingers. I don't want it hard down. If I can't get my hand in or out, then we need more air. If I can sort of put my hand in and out, we need to deflate more air because it's too inflated. When it's too inflated, it feels unstable and you have pressure. It is better for it to be overinflated than underinflated, because if they're bottoming out, they're on the hard surface on the bottom, whatever surface that is. So more often than not, I'll go and see people and it will be more inflated, which, as long as there is still airflow, that it's not fully inflated, it's still providing a good level of pressure care, but maybe just not the optimum one. But it goes in roundabouts. It's still providing that assistance with it. So okay, so we've got that pumped up for me to set it up. Handle goes at the front. If you look here, here we go. That's the front. That's the back. So pop it on. The valve is usually at the front. Oops, I'll turn that round. And I usually then tuck it in, because again, it's a metal piece and you don't want to get any skin tears or anything. They have tried to make it idiot proof for people, and they've got the arrows and everything there for where it's supposed to be. But again, sometimes you do need to check, and again, I had a cushion and this was upside down in the cover, and it wasn't creating much pressure enough. Okay, so we've got the valve out. You would normally be wearing gloves. I won't be. But one thing a little trick is to, before you get the person sitting on it and you've got one hand under them and you've only got one hand with the valve, is just to loosen the valve so that you make sure it's easy to turn off, because quite often it could be quite tight and then you've got gloves and you've just only got one hand and you can't hold it, and it can be quite difficult. Okay, so we've got that at the front there. Left or right hand, it really doesn't matter, whichever you feel more comfortable with. I usually get the person to sit down on me with my hand there so that I don't have to shove it in, because that's creating more shearing forces. So if they can stand up and then sit down on your hand, that's fine. tell them that it's very strange, but you guys do just more invasive stuff than this, but this is my invasive stuff as an OT, and I tell them that I'm getting up close and personal with them. So, right, Wendy? There you go. So, there you go. And when you're looking at it, make sure that, again, we talked about the sitting position, that the feet are flat on the floor, that she's in a good sitting position. There we go. Sometimes you can have your hand down, supine, prone, really doesn't matter, it's up to you. How's that feel?
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
you can
lovely.
feel the difference from when you first sat on it and then
Yes.
sitting into it.
Yeah, it is. You can really feel that you're sitting into it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of supporting you around
Yeah.
the sides. Yeah, it's
So,
lovely.
and the cover holds all the cells in. When Wendy gets up, I'll undo the cover and you can see how it actually looks with how much I have actually deflated, and it actually shocks a lot of people. So, yeah. So if you're looking at that, that looks completely deflated. But if you're thinking, sitting there, that's the weight going on and it's pushing out, and the cover is holding it in to support the thighs and to support, and it's, you know, with it moulding around the person, it does also give a little bit of positioning. Again, there is so many different types of Roho cushions out there which actually do provide positioning, but that's something you guys don't need to worry about. It's just, this is for the pressure care. Again, I show my clients what it looks like after I've fully set it up, and like I said before, I quite will often get them to put their hand under the ischials to feel where they are, so they can feel how it's supposed to feel, how low down. And yeah, and I show them what it looks like so they don't have a helpful relative coming and pumping it up to full inflation because they decide that it's deflated. Getting them to check once a week, putting the hand under, that's all they need to do. By rights, unless there is a puncture, it should stay inflated, or unless there is a faulty valve, it should stay inflated and not need any reinflation for months. But it's just always good to check. You are going to get some air escaping, just a very minimal over 6 months time, but yeah, again, it's minimal. But if you're checking, and if the person's at high risk that they've got this, you're going to be checking it all the time because that's part of the treatment routine. So that's the cushion.